Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. We're going to talk about Palworld again and Palworld versus Pokemon because there was a mod out there to turn Palworld into an unofficial Pokemon game, right? Because people said, hey, these pals, they look too similar to actual Pokemon. So this modder's like, yeah, okay, cool. We'll just make them look just like Pokemon. We're gonna turn it into Pokemon. And Nintendo's already jumped them. They've already had them take it down due to copyright. And trust me, if Nintendo could shut Palworld down, if they could shut Pocket Pair down, I think they would do it in a heartbeat. I'm not convinced they can. You know, I was joking before, being like, oh yeah, Nintendo's gonna like sue them into oblivion. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, you know, this game was announced a couple of years ago. If they could sue them into oblivion, they would do it. If they could shut down Digimon and Monster Rancher and all these other, monster capture games that compete with Pokemon, they would do it. I don't think they have a case. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that because that's what Nintendo fanboys, the ones that are screaming death threats apparently at Pocket Pair, that's what they're hoping for. Secretly hoping. Oh no, they're not secretly hoping for it. They're very, very vocal about it. They want to see Nintendo come in and be the hero and shut down Pocket Pair because how dare Pocket Pair encroach on Nintendo's turf? Again, this game has only been out a few days, less than a week, 6 million in sales. This is absolutely insane. But the reason the game is so successful is it's giving players what they've always wanted from Pokemon, a more adult Pokemon. And that's on Nintendo. That's on Game Freak. They could have given players this. You know, the technology is nothing new. They could have given players this years ago and they would have been ahead of the curve, but they were like, no, let's just keep regurgitating the same game that we've been regurgitating for 30 years and just beef up the graphics a little bit each generation, phone it in, give them a couple new Pokemon, bada bing, bada boom, money in the bank. They'll lap it up. And now they're going to actually have to work for their money. So I think that's the one good thing to come out of Palworld, regardless of how you feel about the game. I personally think it's pretty fun. But if you hate the game and you do think it's just a Pokemon knockoff, which it's more of an Ark Survival Evolved knockoff with Pokemon, but whatever. If you hate it, the good news is Nintendo is going to have to work for your money. They're going to have to work for their money because they're going to have to beat that 6 million downloads, 6 million sales in 4 days. That is embarrassing for Nintendo to have the most popular IP in the world. I believe Pokemon is still the most popular IP in the world and still get their butts handed to them by this small publisher out of Tokyo. They're just like, yeah, we can do this. We can do it better than you. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Hey, check out the audio versions of Clownfish TV and Gaming News Under 10 on Spotify. We're going to put audio versions of some of our videos up again. We were doing that for a while, and I'm like, I'm not really sure it's worth the extra time, but I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. It doesn't really take that much time to do it. So you can find our podcast, the Clownfish TV audio version, and the Gaming News Under 10 wherever you look for podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever. It's out there now, guys. It's out there. And usually those episodes go up an hour or two after they've been on YouTube. So there you go. All right. So this comes from Polygon, which is still in business. Palworld Pokemon mod creator hit with copyright takedown. YouTuber Toasted Shoes teased a video of it. And the modder got shut down. It's looking like Nintendo has saved Pikachu from a life in the mines. Nintendo issued a DMCA takedown to the creator of the Palworld Pokemon mod on Tuesday. Its creator said, on Tuesday. The developer behind the mod, a YouTuber who goes by the name Toasted Shoes, shared a video teasing the mod via X on Monday. Nintendo had the video taken down by Tuesday. Nintendo has come for me. Please leave me in your thoughts and prayers. You gotta watch it. Nintendo's like, they're tenacious. They're very Disney-esque in their lawsuits, but they also make some bad calls. I mean, a lot of us remember when they were gonna, strike anyone that streamed their games, and then you had to like form a partnership with them and give them like half your money if you wanted to stream their games. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? That's a fantastic way to alienate your audience. And this isn't really helping either, but they've done stuff like this before. Pocket Pair released Palworld, a game where players can collect Pokemon-like creatures and put them to work on Friday. It's been less than a week since release. The game has already become a hit with over 1.5 million concurrent players on Steam. On Monday, Toasted Shoes has taken any Pokemon comparisons to a new level by showing a new mod that adds actual Pokemon to the game. The original video was taken down, but you can still view footage of the mod on Toasted Shoes' YouTube channel. Given how fast Nintendo and the Pokemon Company pursued the original clip, this one will likely not stay online for long. I was going to show you some of it, but I'm kind of afraid to, because I'm afraid they're going to come after me. So I will just kind of click around to some of the individual scenes here. Again, I am not hosting this video. I just don't want them to come after me for this. Watch it while you can. The creator said he wants to release the mod to the public for free, but that him and his team plan to tread lightly given Nintendo issued a DMCA to the first video. Yeah, they're really freaking weird about it. Yeah, you can see we got Ash and, some pretty familiar looking Pokemon here. And it looks like it's just, they're just skinning the game. Back we've got Team Rocket in here. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so I mean, look, it's out there now. People are gonna find it. They're gonna download it. They're gonna play it. They're gonna catch them all, for sure. I mean, if Nintendo were smart, they would buy Pocket Pair, and they would just turn Palworld into an actual Pokemon game instead of suing them into oblivion. Yeah, or attempting to sue them, or attempting to strike modders, which is never a good. It's never a good look. From the looks of it, the mod will allow players to capture beloved Pokemon-like creatures, Pikachu and Torchic. The creator describes it as an overhaul that converts everything into Pokemon in the video. In the short clip, we see a clip of Ash hunting Torterra and fighting an Electabuzz. Brock and Misty are there. Misty wields a gun. Palworld does not have mod support at the time of publication, but developers said the team plans to add it as part of a future update. Oh my God. They're going to have all kinds of naked pals running around. It's going to get weird, man. This is going to get weird. They're going to turn all the pals into humans. Like, you can already capture humans, but they're going to make it weird. I know modders are going to make it weird. Once the mod does get published, it could be hard to download. Nintendo has a history of litigating copyright infringement and taking action against creators. That's very true. Nintendo's lawyers will likely have the mod taken down quickly if it ever does get formally published on a site. Now, it's weird. We've played through Minecraft. Actually, on our channel, we did a Minecraft Pokemon server one time, and that's been up for years because they don't care about that because it's not direct competition with Pokemon. That's my opinion. I think it's because it's direct competition with Pokemon that, they're like, yeah, we're gonna sue them all. Gotta sue them all. The article has been updated to include additional information on the mod. So yeah, Toasted Shoes. Tread carefully. So could Nintendo sue Pocket Pair into oblivion? Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. Does Palworld actually break Pokemon's copyright? We asked a lawyer. So Tim Cotton is a senior legal counsel at Relics subsidiary Reed Exhibitions, owner of Gamer Network and thus of Rock Paper Shotgun. Disclaimer, right? He's a specialist in media law with over 22 years of experience. I got in touch with him this morning to ask him whether there's any merit to the claim that Palworld infringes on Pokemon's copyright. Yeah, I mean, they look pretty similar. A casual glance at the characters side by side, and you would think it's an official Pokemon game. That's what's so weird about it. But then you've got these like really shitty mobile games out there using actual Pokemon characters, and they don't do anything. Because again, they're going to look at like, okay, just my layman's take on it. There's no brand confusion, the mobile game, the Minecraft mod, whatever. But when you're dealing with a game that actually lets you go out and capture and train and fight monsters, then they might care. Plus the sales. I mean, 6 million in like 4 days. That's ridiculous. So Cotton began by offering a few quick definitions. Firstly, there's the concept of copyright, which under UK and EU law is automatically applied to original artwork when it's created, forbidding others from copying or reproducing that artwork in any way, although there are a few minor exceptions. For example, you might teach a course on how Pokemon are designed using otherwise copyrighted illustrations. So yeah. Creators can also take out trademarks on characters so as to stop others from copying them, though under the principle of passing off, you can also bring a case against somebody for making use of your design, even if you haven't trademarked it. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close. I'm not going to lie. When you see them side by side like this, it's kind of like, yeah, do any of these prohibitions apply to Palworld? Cotton doesn't think so, commenting that Pokemon and Pals are sufficiently different that there's no problem. The key point is that however closely Palworld's monster designs may ape Pokemon, Cotton still feels it's obvious that each game is the work of a different organization. I don't think there's any confusion. He said, as an observer, the average person on the street, I don't think people are going to be confused as to who it belongs to. Cotton pointed out two smaller differences between monster designs that might undermine a claim of copyright infringement. Lamball might be a rotund cartoon sheep akin to Wooloo, but it has a different profile with different shaped eyes and limbs. It's not Mickey Mouse, it's Mikey Mouse. Someone's been very careful, he says, I think, to make sure that it doesn't appear to be the same monsters. He drew parallels with his work on merchandising operations for Reed Pop events. We often, with our merchandise, have to be careful about what we put in it for Gamer Network or EGX, so the merchandise isn't the same. I've advised with things like, give them 1 year rather than 2 years, put them on 4 legs rather than 2. Yeah, so as long as it's sufficiently different, right? Could Palworld be at greater risk of being taken to court by Nintendo in regions outside of the UK, USA, and EU? Cotton doesn't think so. The lawyer doesn't think so. I think Japanese copyright law is very similar. There are differences in registration, but the overall premise of the law is the same throughout the world. Yeah, so here's another lawyer, Richard Hogue of Hogue Law. So I can't tell you what Nintendo will or won't do about Palworld. I can tell you, however, that they'd have a tough time winning any infringement claim that isn't arguing a direct design copy. He said the game itself is a Minecraft Zelda Monster Hunter mashup, unlike anything Pokemon has put forth, so there's no winning there. He concluded, yeah, it should have been. This is the thing. This is why they're probably pissed, because Nintendo could have given us this, and they didn't do it. They rested on their laurels, and they got beat by somebody else, beat roundly by somebody else. He concluded that the PAL designs have elements that are similar to Pokemon, but even though they fly a bit close to the sun a little too close to the sun for my taste, that's going to be a hard case to win. The plot thickens when you factor in claims that Palworld's PALs were derived more directly from Pokemon. But what are they saying here? The hot blood sleuths of VGC were talking off the record to a pair of experienced AAA game artists about accusations leveled by an anonymous account that some of Palworld's in-game 3D models are nearly identical to Pokemon models exported from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. You cannot in any way accidentally get the same proportions on multiple models from another game without ripping the models. Okay, this is an anonymous account, though. One senior character artist told the site. Or at the very least, tracing them meticulously first. To give you an idea of how impossible this is, sometimes we have to copy one mesh to another when we make sequels to games, redrawing an NPC from one game to another. And even when we rework these old models, they only sometimes match this closely due to rigging changes. So they're saying that Pocket Pair lifted the 3D models right out of Scarlet and Violet, is what they're saying. But this game's been in development for a long time, hasn't it? I don't know. VGC also has some commentary from David Hansel, intellectual property and digital media lawyer at Hansel Henson. They're all just trying to get their names in there so they can get cases, I think, who speculates that the in-game model comparison above could be a smoking gun for Nintendo's lawyers. Well, yeah, I mean, they might not be able to tackle it if that is the case. And I don't know if that's the case. I mean, they look pretty damn close to Pokemon, but that doesn't mean they are. But if they're actually using Pokemon assets, then that does change things. And I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I mean, I thought the biggest accusation against them was that they were possibly, generating one-offs with AI. And oh my God, AI. We can't do AI. But you have to prove it 100%, right? They said it's down to Nintendo to absolutely prove copying, not merely taking influence. It's got to be obvious copying. You look at one picture and you look at the other alongside it. The industry would have come to an end years ago if you weren't allowed to take influence. You can't have a monopoly on a certain style of artwork. Well, Nintendo loves monopolies. They do. Ask Atari. Ask Atari how that works. It literally has to be copying. The Pokemon Company will be looking for a smoking gun, and these 3D model videos could be gold dust for the lawyers because they're not just thematically similar. From what those videos show, it could be extremely compelling evidence of copying. So they might actually go to court. I don't know, guys. That's really interesting stuff. This is the first I've heard of this. So if it turns out that they lifted the models from Nintendo games, then that could be a problem. Didn't Nintendo like rip itself off though? I thought they were just like regurgitating models from one Pokemon game to another. I remember something about that a couple of years ago. So yeah, we'll see. So just saying, hey, these games are similar and these designs are similar isn't going to be enough to get them in the legal trouble. But yeah, if they are copying the actual models out of official Pokemon games and then just tweaking them a little bit, that would be a problem because they would say, hey, this is derivative. You're basically making an illegal Pokemon game using our stuff, our assets. Then yeah, they would be in deep doo-doo for that. Hopefully that's not the case because the game's a lot of fun. And I think Nintendo should have made something like this themselves years ago. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.